It only takes a couple of words for the money to fall through your fingertips. From the marketplace to the boardroom, the making of a great salesperson depends on the awareness you have during your work and your ability to reflect and improve over time. These are the 5 biggest mistakes new salespeople make, leaving tons of money on the table. From cold calling to luxury sales, I've seen firsthand the mistakes that new salespeople make even when they have their dream client sitting in front of them. Heck, I've even made some of them myself. These mistakes are costing you sales and ultimately tying you to lower commission than you want to make, leaving you overworked and preventing you from being the best in your team. I'm going to walk you through what these mistakes are and how you can avoid them going forward, so that you can work smarter for your commission and take home more money at the end of the month. I know that you're going to love the content in this video, so I'm going to ask you for one favor, to hit that like button. It helps our channel grow and lets more people find our content. If you want to build your toolbox for extraordinary sales, mindset, and wealth, go ahead and subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you. Your support powers our channel. Now let's get into it. The first mistake that new salespeople make is being too desperate for the sale. Look, when we're starting out, it's understandable. When we've got somebody in front of us, we really want that person to buy. But unfortunately, the more that we want and display our desire for that person to become our client, the less attractive we are. Think of it like dating. When you've got somebody sitting in front of you who's desperate for your attention, the chances are you're likely to back away a little bit. Now, the client that's sitting in front of you isn't going to buy from you just because you're earning commission, and so they don't want to feel that you're doing anything or saying anything just for the sell. You have to know and believe that life goes on with or without this sale. That's the energy that's far more attractive to your clients. So you need to cultivate with or without you energy, that you're going to be okay with or without this client, that the event goes on with or without this client, that the product has value with or without this client saying yes. That is what's going to help you turn on the charm and make you more attractive to your clients. The second mistake of new salespeople is a tendency to over-explain their product. Generally, there are 3 parts to a sale: opening the client, the demonstration, and closing the client. And when we're new, we often think that the most important part in that process is the demonstration, because we are excited about the product that we're going to sell. So often we think that the more that we talk, the more that we explain, the higher the chances are that the person is going to buy. But often this isn't the case. Remember that most people make their purchases out of emotion, not out of logic. So when we explain and explain and explain, we're actually putting our client into their logical brain. When they're in their logical thinking, analyzing part of their brain, it's more likely that their objections are going to be thrown up. They're going to start thinking about how they might not really need the product, how they might not use it, how they might not be able to afford it. They're going to start analyzing a lot more the situation. And we want them to be excited about the results of the product. So we want them to be more in the emotional brain. Remember, the less you talk, the more power your words have. The third mistake is being apologetic for your price. It doesn't matter what the price of your product or service is, there's always going to be a section of the population that thinks it's too expensive. You can post a new iPhone on Facebook Marketplace for $100 and you're going to get messages asking you if you'll sell it at 50, if you'll go one step lower. The biggest mistake that you can make is to believe them. Often when we start out, we can have a fear of asking for money, and so that causes us to avoid talking about the price altogether, often leading us until we're trying to close the client for us to even mention what the price is. This is going to work against us. This leaves it too late for us to deal with any objections about the price, or puts us in a situation when we are energetically low when we say the price. Now, as a salesperson, you are really working with energy. When you say your price with low energy, you are further devaluing your product and your service in the minds of the client. Whatever the amount of your product or service, you need to make that amount small in your mind so that you can deliver it with confidence, believing that that number is not a barrier. Let's say your offer is $500. Maybe $500 at this point in your career is quite a lot for you. So you need to go through the process of truly believing that $500 is not a big amount of money, so that when you deliver that price, you say it with confidence and your energy doesn't go down. If you're apologizing for your price as you say it, you're closing the door on that sale. The fourth mistake is asking questions of our client without listening. This is going to trip us up for a couple of reasons. The first one is, if we tune off after we ask a question, we're not going to be picking up on the language that we can use to mirror that client. We need to be listening because the information that we get from our questions are going to be the hooks that we use to close our client at the end of the sale. The language that our clients are using needs to be the language that we adopt so that we can help them imagine themselves with our product or service. Oftentimes, new salespeople are asking questions to try and build rapport. And yes, building rapport is important, but we're not there to be the client's new best friend. The answers that they are giving you are going to help you open the door towards the sale. And just like over-explaining the product, the less that we talk, the less that the focus is on us, the more power you have. The fifth mistake of new salespeople are not really trying an upsell. In sales, we're working with energy, and throughout the course of a sale, there are going to be ups and downs. Sometimes, by the end of the sale, when we've closed somebody, we think that we've given it our all, and there's a natural drop in our energy. And so often you don't take the opportunity to try for an upsell. If you've got a client in front of you who's just said yes to your offer, you've already built rapport with them, why wouldn't you try a little bit harder to see if you can increase that sale a little bit more? When you truly know and understand your product or service, you are the one that knows what that client needs to have the experience that they want. If you've got a client in front of you that's just said yes to your offer, that person already trusts you. You are the expert about your product or your service, and now you've got the opportunity to complete the experience that that client is going to have with you. The upsell is the moment where most new salespeople get insecure because they think that they are manipulating and squeezing money out of the person. But we're actually doing the client a service by completing the experience that that client is going to have. This relates to the earlier point about being apologetic for our price. You also don't have to make apologies for trying for an upsell. You know, like the cashier at the supermarket who meekly asks you if you want to round up for charity? You don't want to be in the position where you're apologizing for offering a better product or service. You wouldn't take no the first time during their demonstration when you're trying to close the first sell. So why give up the first time when they say no to an upsell? I used to give myself a rule that I would try at least 3 times an upsell with the same energy that I tried to close that client for the first time. I knew how much energy it was going to take me to start with a new client from scratch and go through that whole process of building rapport and building trust again. If you've got that person in front of you who's just said yes, try for the upsell. Try 3 times and watch your commission go through the roof. The biggest strength that you can have as a salesperson is awareness. Every word, every detail, each fluctuation of your energy is dictating the outcome of your sale. Don't get caught up in your script or just working on autopilot, especially when you want to level up. It might take a few days of noticing your mistakes before you're able to do the work to correct them. But I know that if you take this advice, your sales are going to explode and you're going to increase that salary that you're taking home. Remember to subscribe to Selling Millions and hit that like button before you go. And if you want to know how to increase your salary from 0 to 10K a month, check out this video right here.